Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to a quick little fun Friday discussion video regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. Now, if you don't know, we got some really interesting news regarding some merchandise that was sent out in V-Jump of this month. I didn't really touch anything regarding V-Jump because nothing regarding the anime came out, and Yugioh Organization briefly mentioned it in their assorted things article, but if you didn't click that, you wouldn't have known it since it wasn't like a main article, but I'll be going over it. I saw it because a lot of people on Twitter were freaking out over it, and rightfully so. It is some pretty awesome news, especially for you collectors out there, and I'm going to kind of look at it from a business standpoint and why I think it is a very good sign for Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, kind of similar to how the Nico ratings have been great. I'll touch on those. I'll let you know if those have been as good as they were the first 5 episodes, where every episode was being ranked either an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 on that site. It's basically a site where a lot of people from the Japanese fandom vote after an episode, and then they vote on whether they like the episode or didn't like the episode, and then we kind of get a bit of a taste of what the Japanese fandom is kind of feeling towards an anime. So I'm going to get right to it. I will link all these down below, but basically what happened is Seto Kaiba and Playmaker are getting Figmas, and Figmas are basically figurines, and I'll show you the one right now. We only have 3 to my knowledge. We have Yugimoto, we have Yami Yugi, and we have the Dark Magician Girl. Now we're getting Seto Kaiba, and we also got about a month ago Judai from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He got announced to get a Figma, which a lot of people were freaking out about because for those of you that have been around for a while, you are aware that when they merchandise things and when they sell things, it is almost always exclusively for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. There is rarely any main big merchandise that they do, especially with Figmas, even though they don't really do Figmas too often because they're pretty costly to make, I imagine, and they need a good amount of people to buy them and be interested in them. So they really only merchandise and they really only sell things from the original Duel Monsters series. That's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been, which is why it was huge news when they announced that Judai was going to get a Figma, which was awesome. And it was even more shocking news that they skipped completely 5Ds, Zexal and Arc 5, and went right to Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, and they announced that Kaiba and Playmaker are both getting Figmas. And you look at the Figma right here on Amazon of Yami Yugi, and I gotta say, Figmas aren't really my thing. I'm more of like a poster or a shirt guy, but if you're into this stuff, it's awesome, and it does look really, really cool. It looks really, really smooth, and it's going to be awesome. I actually might myself I might get a Playmaker Figma. I might honestly get one. I've never really been interested in like figurines, but I might have to invest in one. They're pretty expensive, but probably worth it, especially if you're into this stuff, definitely worth it. So a few people were a little upset that they skipped over all the other shows, went right to Playmaker, went right to VRains. But to me, that was very, very good news. From a business standpoint, that tells me that Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains is doing very, very well. I thought it was kind of bizarre that we're 14 episodes in. We're now 15 episodes, but when this was announced last weekend, so we were only 14 episodes in. So VRains probably doesn't have as heavy of a fan base as 5Ds or as Zexal. So I was just very surprised that they are investing in making a Playmaker Figma. I think it's smart business. I honestly do. You want to advertise and you want to have merchandise for the show that is currently being broadcasted. Because here's a little scenario. If you go over a friend's house and you see, let's say, a Playmaker Figma, and you ask, oh, who is that? Like, what show is that from? And you can be like, oh, it's from a Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. It's from a really cool show. You should definitely check it out. Boom, you might have another person that watches the show. Whereas, if you have, like, a Yusei Figma, and they come over and they're like, oh, who is that? And it's like, oh, it's Yusei. It's from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. The show ended a while ago. It's a really good show, but it's got 150 episodes. That's a little more intimidating for someone who might not be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan or maybe hasn't watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Since, like, the original series, than saying, oh, it's only 15 episodes in. You should definitely give it a shot. You can catch up to it. We can talk about it week to week. You know, we can be more interactive about it and stuff, and then, like, make predictions together. You know, it's just more fun to watch a show together that's live rather than a show that's completed. Not saying that watching a show that's completed and binge watching a show that's completed is not fun by any means, but you can't really predict what's going to happen next. You can't have conversations with friends on what you think is going to happen next because one person's going to know what happens next, you know what I mean? So that's one scenario that you could get more fans onto a certain show. But before I move on into the the Nico Nico ratings and why I just think that it's really, really a good sign for VRains. Awie's Eyes and Blue Angel became the first Yu-Gi-Oh girl, I believe this is the case, to get a pin like the one you're seeing on screen now, to get an ornament, which is the one you're seeing on screen now. She became the first female ever in Yu-Gi-Oh to be included in merchandise like this, so that's awesome for her. It's another good sign for VRains. That's not really as good of a sign because she's part of the Yu-Gi-Oh VRains main cast, but still, it's awesome that she is being included. It's awesome that more VRains stuff, more VRains merch is being included, because merchandising, to me, has been Yu-Gi-Oh's real weak point. When you go into a Hot Topic, you see all these anime t-shirts. You never see a Yu-Gi-Moto t-shirt. You never see any Yu-Gi-Oh related merch. That's still something that I think they need to work on, but it's cool that they are moving in the right direction with this figurine. So, back to Nico Nico and why I think, again, this is a really good sign for VRains. The Nico Nico ratings have been incredible ever since I made that video. They not because of that video. That video had nothing to do with it. Obviously, not many people from Japan watch my content, and the ones that do usually dislike it. I'm not even kidding. The like to dislike ratio from Japan on my channel is like 60 to 40. Like, it's horrible. But not many people from Japan watch my content, and that's fine. It's understandable. So the Nico Nico ratings, the lowest one we have gotten so far was for episode 13, which was the recap episode. That episode still got rated an 82. That episode was given an 8.2 out of 10. To put that into perspective, none of the last 48 Arc 5 episodes even broke 80 out of 10. Or 80 out of 100, excuse me. A recap episode got an 82 out of 100. And I think it was episode 11 that got like a 95.9 out of 100. So it basically got a 9.6 out of 10. The ratings have been incredible. And while, again, I have a love-hate relationship with this site because I don't think it's the most reliable, it's still a site that I believe many Japanese companies and many fans look to get an understanding of where the fan base is regarding Japan. When you hear that Zexal was received very well in Japan, they're getting that information from this Nico Nico site. So if you don't believe this site at all, then you can't believe whenever someone says, yeah, Zexal was received very well, 5Ds was kind of received okay, Arc 5 was received horribly, VRains has been received very well. If you don't believe this site at all, if you think this site has zero credibility, then you can't accurately make any of those statements, because the numbers we don't see is the viewership. We don't see how many people are actually tuning in to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains or Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 week in and week out. But just to make a little comparison here, and I hate to, pick on Arc 5, we never got Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 Sound Duel 4. We probably never will, unfortunately, because there were some great themes in that, in the final 80 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. And yes, I say 80 because Arc 5 Sound Duel 3 came out in summer of 2015. Arc 5 Sound Duel 3 came out over 2 years ago. It came out when the show was between episodes 64 and 65, so the last 80 episodes, the last 83 episodes to be exact, any new songs that appeared in those episodes, we will probably never hear. And let me be the first to tell you, it is not costly at all. It does not cost a lot to put cover art on a CD, to mass produce CDs, to put songs that you already own on a CD, and then to sell those CDs. But they believe, and this is probably because of the Nico Nico ratings, it's probably because of the viewership numbers, which again we don't have access to, but I imagine they dipped dramatically for Arc 5, and even the reception in the West, in the Americas, and in Europe, and in Australia. Because of all the horrible ratings and maybe the drop in viewership numbers, they don't even think it's cost effective. They don't think it's profitable to make those CDs and release them. That's the only reason they wouldn't release them. If a business, and again, I'm not completely ignorant when I'm talking about business. I have an associate's in business, and by this time next year, I'll have a marketing degree, a bachelor's, hopefully, unless things go horribly wrong in college this final year. So I'm not completely ignorant. I do know what I'm talking about to some degree. As a business, you're not going to release something if you don't find it profitable. If you think something is profitable, you're going to release it. And you would think it's easy for them to put songs on a CD, which it is. I've done it before. And then just have a nice cover art and release that. And mass produce it and release it. But because of how bad Arc 5 performed towards the end with a lot of fans, they don't think it's profitable to do that. And that's why we have not, and I do not think we will, ever see an Arc 5 Sound Duel 4. And I know Zexal's final Sound Duel came out 8 months after Zexal ended in November when Arc 5 was airing, but Zexal also had a Sound Duel 4. They also had a Sound Duel that came out with like 20 episodes left. Again, Arc 5, we have not seen any Sound Duel released in now over 2 years. So I don't think we're going to get one, to be completely honest, because why the show tanked on these sites. The show had criticism from almost everyone, whereas VRains is getting praised by everyone. And what's the outcome for that? We get a Playmaker Figma. We get all this merchandise regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, and I think that is a very, very good sign. I think it's a good sign for Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, and I think it's a great sign for Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. So I just wanted to have this little discussion video with you guys. Please let me know all your thoughts on this, whether you think that VRains is definitely a thumbs up right now and you're loving that it's getting as much praise as it's getting. And again, it's only good for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because if VRains continues to perform really well, they're going to have the funds to maybe hire another animator, because right now they only have No Gilbo, and Ebina those were the two big dogs, and with Ebina gone, they really need another extremely talented animator. And hopefully, if they keep making these products and they keep bringing in money, because they're only making these products because the show has been received well, and because, again, we can't see viewership, but I imagine viewership is very high. If viewership was not high, they would not be wasting funds to make a Playmaker Figma. Instead, they would be making like a Joey Wheeler Figma or something regarding Duel Monsters, or just a Kaiba Figma. But the fact that they skipped 5Ds through Arc 5 and they went right to Playmaker is really, really a good sign, especially for a franchise that usually does not advertise extremely well and does not have very good merchandising. So very good sign for VRains, very good sign for Yu-Gi-Oh!, very good sign for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. Let me know all your thoughts down below on everything I said. I cannot wait to have a conversation with you guys tomorrow. I will be remastering a theory video. It'll be the same script. It will be new, higher quality audio with my new microphone. I recorded this theory about a year ago on Clueless Gamers, but it was taken down after a couple of months, and I didn't want to fight for it, because in case they do file a suit, I'm with my friend on that channel. I don't want my friend to be in any legal trouble. So that video has been down for quite some time, but that will be back up with new audio, new aesthetics. The video itself should be a little more visually pleasing, but the script will be the same. So kind of a remastered theory video tomorrow. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an incredible weekend. I'll talk to you down below. Have a great day.